Now, this video is for those of us who think we want to be perfectionists and we think that we always have to get things right and that getting things right is the key to surviving and thriving. Well, I think by now, especially me at this stage in life, we've found out that that just isn't true. We are bound to make lots and lots of mistakes during our lives. And the key is not getting everything right. I think the key is what do you do when you don't get things right? And here at the Roofing Portal, the key to thriving and surviving in business is to get things right. Because here at the Roofing Portal, our mission is to figure out what the roofing problem is and come up with a way to fix it. So if you don't get the initial diagnosis correct, then things tend to go downhill from that point on. And the question is, do we get everything right? Well, the answer is no. And the key here is when we get things wrong, what do we do about it? So we've got a case study here. We've got a house built with HEBEL. You know how I hate HEBEL, because HEBEL is often an incomplete solution to the problem of building walls that are waterproof. Anyway, we've got a house built out of HEBEL and we've got an al fresco roof. An al fresco is a roof usually built at the back of the house, and it is not classified as inside house, it's actually outside the house, like a balcony with a roof. So it's an al fresco at the back of the house. And the homeowner asked Jeff to go out and have a look at a leak in the al fresco. So when Jeff went out, he could see that there were definitely lines where there were a lot of mold. And mold means moisture. And moisture could very well be leaks. So Jeff did the usual thing, got up on the roof, a typical metal roof, and had quite a few little things wrong with how that roof was put together. So naturally, Jeff would go, all right, we think you've got a tiny little leak here happening on this al fresco roof. We think that these particular roof problems are contributing to the leak. So we'll do you up a quote to fix these leaks on the roof. So time went on, we went there, the quote was accepted. We went and did the work that Jeff identified. And then in the wintertime, we had a long wet period. And the client said, Jeff, the mold is actually getting worse after you did the repair. So this was strange, Jeff thought. So he went out, had a look, and everything that we'd done seemed fine. So he took the roof off again and had another good look. And by this time, we had educated ourselves a lot more about condensation problems. So Jeff was looking at condensation as a potential source of the problem, not a roof leak. So when he pulled the roof out, he saw something that just didn't make sense. There was a wall panel missing. So when you construct a house, the walls go straight up from the foundations all the way up to the roof. And if you were to butt a roof up to that wall, in this instance an al fresco roof, so if the walls went up and you butted an al fresco roof on, then the al fresco roof is external to the house. It's a different environment. So it's an exterior environment. And usually when the builder does an al fresco roof, he doesn't insulate the ceiling because it's an outside roof. So the al fresco ceiling had no insulation. But because Jeff was looking at condensation as a potential problem, the first thing he realized was that you've got the walls and you've got the al fresco roof. The walls actually went missing. So we had a wall that went from the ground up to the ceiling level of the al fresco, and we had a wall above the roof that went up to the top story roof, but between that there was no wall. So there was actually a gap, and you could see the framing for the ground floor level, and it was a void to the ground floor. So what is happening as a consequence is that the al fresco roof now becomes part of the interior of the house, which means that all the warm, moist air that's generated inside the house goes through all the light fittings and so on and so forth, hits the underside of the floor, and then it starts to drift out in the alfresco roof cavity. So the alfresco roof cavity now is not an exterior roof cavity anymore, it becomes an interior roof cavity, which means that it's got warm, moist air. So what happens in the colder months is that you got a cold ceiling because it's an outside alfresco, you got warm air in the roof cavity, and you get condensation. So we misdiagnosed the whole thing from day one. Potentially a little bit of water could be coming in through the roof, but the bulk of the problem was condensation, which we got wrong. So the question is, what did we do about it?
If I was going for a quote and I saw the same type of mold in a roof inside, I would straight away know, okay, there's no insulation there, we've got a problem with that. Because it was outside, that whole thing threw me. I was like, no, there should be no reason for that. So that's probably mold caused from moisture from a leak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not.
Yeah. So I guess we've come up with a solution, and I guess the permanent solution is to tear this roof down and redo that wall properly so that it's been built properly. Yeah. So essentially this house hasn't been built properly with the HEBEL walls. So rather than tearing the whole house down and starting again, which no one's going to be happy with, we've come up with a compromise solution. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a bit of a trade-off, but we think it's going to work. Yeah. And the idea is that we're going to insulate the ceiling of the alfresco. And that will then mean two things. It's going to prevent the warm, moist air from touching a cold ceiling because the ceiling's insulated, which will mean no condensation. If there's any condensation or that little bit, it will drop onto the ceiling bats and then it'll dry out, and so the ceiling won't actually get moist, so there'll be no mold. So that's our solution to it. It's in the grey area where we should or should not be doing it. Yes. But I guess we always try to come up with solutions for our homeowners, and sometimes because we've misdiagnosed the problem initially, we kind of think, oh, it's part of our responsibility. We should be smarter and more aware. Yeah. So certainly next time around when we come and look at something like this, we'll certainly know what to look for.
We've learned our lesson. I've been back here 3 times trying to find this.
So from our point of view, it's good that we're always learning. We're training ourselves to figure out what exactly causes all the problems, so that we can actually diagnose the problem and come up with more meaningful quotes.
I find I'm becoming an expert on mold the more I do roofing as well, Jack.
Yeah, so the reason we are going through this today is more, we think it's kind of a little bit part of our responsibility that we weren't quite smart enough. Yes. In the future we will be smart enough. Yeah. So we're doing this off our own bat, I guess, at no cost to the homeowner. Yeah. Well, you see that we came up with a solution to the problem of condensation. We went back, we put insulation in, and there's a very good chance that the solution that we've provided will solve the problem. And going through this whole exercise of diagnosing a problem, getting it wrong, to actually provide a solution to what the problem actually is, that's all part of the process. And that's the process of surviving and thriving. Life will always throw us curveballs, and it's not complaining about the curveballs, it's what you do with all these curveballs that life throws at you.